Welcome to Make It Plain from Make Plain Jesus Ministries, featuring Pastor James Bryan, where we take biblical truths in everyday situations and break them down to be as plain as possible. So, stay tuned and enjoy the broadcast.
Welcome to this episode of Make It Plain. And so this is a wonderful time because we're doing a part 2 of another episode that we had started last week. And as you know, those who have listened to part 1, we had another guest that was here. It was Dr. Cheryl Hill. And I know most of you felt the energy that was exuberated through her conversation and her testimony and just giving you some real practical insights, but they're powerful insights. And so I know we left you on the edge of your chairs as we just stopped at a certain point, but yet we realized there was so much more. So we had to ask Dr. Cheryl Hill to come back again. And so this time I want to continue this conversation in which we started, and we're focusing on the good in the bad. And so we're trying to make sure that you understand that really there is a lot of good going on. There's a lot of good focus points that you should be, digesting at this time and putting to use in your life. And so where we left off was Dr. Cheryl was talking about situations where, things didn't really go well, but she made it through, and she was talking about how God used her in that way and how he taught her. And so I want you to continue, Dr. Cheryl, just talking a little bit more about you got to the governor's office. I want them to know about the White House. I want them to know about just how, because your passion and your drive that you have was being demonstrated for folks who may not have been Christians or other faiths, how you were able to work together with them and how they were able to just reap benefits from that perspective. And so if you can begin to talk a little bit about that, and then keep it with the focus at the end about the good and the bad. If you can do that, that'd be great.
So let's finish. I'm going through my personal struggles, and here I land in Ocean City, Maryland, like I told you. Uh-huh. So that was the beginning of my job in the governor's office, where I was the director of faith and community outreach for the entire state of Maryland. Mm-hmm. So I get there and I say, God, I don't have a clue. They didn't even have a clue of what that meant. At that time, President Bush was really bullish about having faith in government. So he created the faith and community-based initiatives. Mm-hmm. So this particular governor opened the office. He did, what do you call it when you enact something? I can't remember. But he put that office in place. And lo and behold, a lot of pastors wanted this office. I'm telling you, I learned so much about people in ministry as well going through this thing. But God ended up having me in that office. And so this is an office with no particular job specs. So I was making everything up as I was going along. Why? Remember, my funds were lacking. So I knew I needed to pay my gas and electric, rent, and all of this. This is real. Transparency. I said, all right, I got to make up some things that are pertinent to the community and the faith, which I did. So in the office that I was in was also the commissions, which meant the Indian Commission, the Hispanic Commission, the Muslim Commission, African American Commission, and African Commission. So we were tasked to do the 5 priorities of the governor. And one of the priorities was housing, right? Mm-hmm. And so they wanted to increase the housing first-time home buyers. Now, what did we know about it? Nothing, not at all. Well, we were tasked to do it. We had to do a demonstration of how this government could work in the community. So I started praying. Mm-hmm. So me and my partner, the guy that mentored me, I said, we're going to pray. So he and I started praying. That next thing you know, no lie. The next thing you know, the people that were Catholic came. Then the next group came, and we started getting in a circle in the midst of our office because it was a large office. And we held hands, and guess what? Started praying. Then we started crossing over, meaning in agencies, learning about each other's tasks, what we did. And when we went to an event, we invited the other. Before it was your own agency, you did your own thing. Mm-hmm. So we did cross-cultural type of things. Good. But guess what? Everybody started getting in that circle prayer. Next thing you know, for real, in the midst of this, people were beginning to be able to buy houses. We had housing counselors, everything. Wow. The money then was flowing. Right. So in the midst of my financial struggles, what people usually do, they lay and wallow in, oh my God, I don't have $1. Oh my God, oh, this is going to come. And guess what? Eviction notices are real. Mm-hmm. Turn off notices, they are real. Mm-hmm. But in the midst, do you sit and wait for that notice to overtake you? Right. So I think I'm talking to some people. You don't let a piece of paper dictate your purpose. You can't. Right, otherwise, you will sit and be overtaken and run over, sink into depression, go drinking, drugging, whatever it is that you might turn over to, all because a piece of paper back then, now it's electronic, back then greeted you at your mailbox, right? So in the midst of all of my drama going on, I still had to do my job in the governor's office. I still had to minister, and I was still being creative. Right. So we are all praying in the midst of this, Catholic, Muslim, Christian, Jewish too, Jewish. Next thing you know, the housing demographics rose 17%. Wow. I'll never forget it. They wrote about it in the paper. And the lieutenant governor, which you all would know if I spoke his name, he's on MSNBC right now. He came to the office. He said, I had to come from Annapolis to find out what is going on here. How are you all doing this? Right. So my friend, he wanted to go, well, it was this. I looked at him. I said, say, what did you just say? You said what? He said, no. I have to say, LG, that's the lieutenant governor. I have to say we were praying. And then everybody agreed. We prayed and stuff started happening. Everybody saw God move in this instance, right? You talked about how we don't just take our gifts to a place and just use the gifts, but we use the gifts in strategic ways, meaning with the wisdom and knowledge that we know, how do we always go back to added value? How do we add the value? Yeah. How did I do it in the midst of my turmoil? In half of my brain was going through, okay, I might be getting evicted, turn off notice. I did have one turn off. I'm like, God, how does this work? You told me I'm wealthy. Right. It doesn't look wealthy here, God. Right. And so you said, well, how do we get the good out of the bad? Mm-hmm. Even while this is going on, I told you the key is to keep speaking. Right. Yeah.
That's good. And that's good. So now, you've had opportunities, as you've mentioned, to be in these prime places and situations. So, and you've mentioned in part one of the broadcast how, you get on a plane, you really don't know what you're going to say up until that moment. So tell me, or tell everyone else who's listening from the standpoint of, when have you come up with solutions that, an hour before you had no idea what they were? And how did you feel when you first experienced God working like that through you? Was it a major thing? So talk a little bit about that.
Well, James is still major. Why? Because I still don't have a clue until he takes me to that place. And he began doing that years ago. He said to me, God said to me, I'll tell you when you get there. I said, no. That's just like a preacher wanting the word before Sunday comes. Right. And you look it up, you write it out. I need a word. I used to stress out so bad. I need a word. I said, God, look. Okay, this is my relationship with God. Look. Number one, for me to be on a plane that long is a major miracle.
20 some hours, right?
Yeah, it's 12 hours.
12 hours, okay.
Yes. And so it depends on where you're going. It took me 21 hours to get to one place. Maddening. But anyway, get on this plane. He said, go here. Every time I went here and ended up there, he would tell me, again, no college, no business degree, none of that. I get off the plane. This particular time, I'll talk about one time. This ambassador invited me to go to a certain country. I did. He had a delegation waiting. He said, I want you to see my country. Then I want you to think about what we can do in this country. And I'm like, why is he, look, this is my inner voice. Why is he asking me? Because I don't know. I just don't know. That's my drama. This is how I am inwardly. Right. Get on the plane. Every time, everything's paid for. But at home, my bills are jacked up, okay? But I get on the plane, get there. And I would get to this one place. I talk about it all the time. They took me around. I met some of the women farmers co-ops. But I go to this place, and as far as I could see were pineapple trees. Mm-hmm. And I said, wait a minute. What is that? Pineapple trees. I said, so what are you doing with this? We don't know. I'm like, you don't know. What I see is money, right? I see money. I see orange juice. I see, what do you call it? Dried pineapple. Yeah. I see products. Mm-hmm. They said, well, our problem is getting our products from the farm to the market. I said, so wait. They said it will spoil before we get it to the market. So what was their problem, James? They needed refrigeration trucks to get it from one place to another. Right. And that was cash that I was looking at. But how did I know that? God dropped it in. When I saw it, I couldn't take my... I said, what kind of madness is this God? Right. Everywhere I would go, he would leave one opening for me to come to suggest something that would work. Right. And then what would happen, people began to say, Christian and non-Christian, whatever she tells you to do, do it. Yeah. And that's the gift of God.
It is. Okay? It is. It really is. And, you know, you see those examples biblically also. And when God is speaking through a person, and he's no respecter of person, so the people could be any shape, color, or whatever. And he makes sure that he's able to deliver that end-time message. You couldn't have researched enough to come up with that answer at that time, right? No. And
you just opened your mouth. I don't mean to cut in. This is God. You just opened your mouth. When you started speaking, God just showed me something. He said, and I meant that your gift would make room for you. Yep. So people that are sitting right now, you may be in IT right now. You need to go and spend 3 days. God, what is my gift? Mm-hmm. I guarantee you one thing tonight or today, whenever you're listening to that, whatever gift is in you, God will multiply and bring income to you. So you might think, I went to college for this, but there are other things that are on the inside of you that you can use. Some people bake. They don't even know that that's a gift. Mm-hmm. And they begin baking, and that created a business and streams of income. What is it that you have in your hand right now that God can multiply in the midst of this pandemic, in the midst of a lost job? Right. What is it that you can do? Can you write? Can you do things for people? And you're going to have to talk. You're going to have to reach out. Do you need this? Okay, I can do it for this. And you need to barter. Right. I'm a bartering somebody. I leverage everything that I have. Okay, I'll do this for you. I need to get this. And don't be ashamed. Let's remove guilt. And what do you call that? Pride. Right. Uh-huh. Yep. There you go. Yeah.
That's good. And that's good. And people don't think about that in today's world.
Nope.
But it is working. And I remember there was a person who prophesied about, I'm going to say about maybe 2007 or 8 about this pandemic coming. And one of the things that, and I, until about a year or so more ago, I hadn't heard of this person, but I went and saw what he had said back then. And then he said one of the things that needs to happen is you have to build relationships. And he mentioned about bartering with folks and relationships that you need to have during these times when things get to be different. And as people are saying, a lot of folks are asking, when is it going to get back to the way it was? I want it back exactly the way it was. And the answer may be that it's not exactly going to be the way it was, but that doesn't mean that you and I can't survive, we can't prosper, we can't do what we need to do. And so, and it was interesting that way back then he was saying some of the things that you're saying right now.
Yeah.
So that's good.
And we're going to have to refocus. You said it. You hit the nail straight on the head. It's not good. Listen, I'm going to tell everybody it's not going to be the same. It just is not. Why? Because we've been forced into change.
Right.
This is a force into a change. You cannot go back to your business the same. It won't happen. It won't have the same feel. You can't recoup yesterday. You can't.
Right.
So what have we learned? I learned something huge. As God begins to give me more businesses, I tell you one thing, it will not be dependent on any one thing. And you should have several streams of income. Yeah, I learned that from here, right? These are the good things that I'm learning and watching.
Right.
I learned that we need to stand in the word. Psalms 91, if you take every sentence, that is really your refuge. Yeah. And it says, and though 1,000 fall and 10,000 at your right side, this is what's happening all around. Guess what? It won't come nigh to you. You better take that word and apply it.
Right.
Though people have businesses, we see big name businesses going out of businesses. Right. Why? Everything was in one place. Right. So I learned that from here. So I'm learning even from the things that are happening that look bad, how to proceed in the new.
Right.
Period. In the new, James.
That's good. So now, one more thing in this area, and believe it or not, we're rolling right through this. So I want to get some more things in before we get to the end. If you're you remember as a kid, you go to a playground and they have these things. It's kind of like a merry-go-round, but it's kind of you sit on it and it kind of spins around. And I learned quickly that if you stare at everything that goes around you, you'll get dizzy. But if you focus on a center point, then you can get through it without getting dizzy. So when things are changing like this, what would you tell folks to focus on? We've alluded to it several times, but I just want to make it plain, if I can. And so what would you tell them to focus on as things are spinning and changing? Because you said that it won't be the same as it was before. So as they're going around on this merry-go-round, where should their eyes be focused? And in any kind of plain vernacular that you can begin to explain to them.
Let me tell you something. I had to come out of my hesitancy to do things dealing with technology. That wasn't my thing. So in order to meet, I can't fly anymore right now. Right. But how was it that I keep up the purpose that God gave me? So it's Zoom meetings, right? Yeah. I said, I don't want to do no Zoom. What is Zoom? Why didn't I want to do it? That was something foreign to me, that I had a little bit of fear about the technology. Did I have to do it? All of these things were going on, but I had to level myself up. I call it level up.
Right.
Because guess what? If you don't get into the flow of this, you will be left behind.
Right.
So I had to level myself up. And practical things, I was a little overweight. So I said, wait, okay. That means if I'm going to represent God, I had to lose some weight, which I did. I had to present myself from the waist up, right? Because Zoom is about the waist up, what they see, your face, everything. I had to get ready. I had to do some things where optics were important. Look, little thing, women, get a wig, get some makeup, get some new clothes. From the waist up, I had to do all of those things, 2 months worth of work, so that I could level up to do Zooms, James, to talk to people continuously around the world. And as a matter of fact, I'll let you know this. Yesterday, I got a call from a friend. He said, I want you to speak to a friend of mine. Guess what? She is the first lady. Well, she is the wife of the vice president of a certain country. I said, what? I forgot that I had sent an audio tape maybe 6 months or more concerning her to my friend. I didn't know he sent it to her. Oh. She listened to the tape and said, can I meet her myself? How are we meeting? Did I have to fly? No. Through WhatsApp, and we will be doing what? Zoom meetings, okay?
Right.
This happened yesterday. So what am I saying? You cannot hold on to yesterday. That means people of all ages. We can't go see our grandparents right now. We can't do a lot of things, but technology is what we have to level up in right now and put all of our fears behind. If you need help, call for help, but level yourself up to what is available for us right now to communicate and to prosper.
And so that's really good because there are folks that are very much into technology, so much so that they can't live. When I say, what if you were on an island without technology for a weekend? And they said they can't handle it. They wouldn't be able to handle it. Then you have others who don't want to come anywhere near it with a 10-foot pole.
Right.
So, but right now in this way in which we're living, you're going to have to know that that's part of life, and you have to make sure that you are using it to accentuate or even illuminate the gifts that you have so it can be used. One of the things that was said, and Dr. Sherrill said it, and we've talked about it a few times, is, people that are around. So one of the key things that folks have to remember, you may be going through some things, but if you're going to sulk and focus only on your issues, you're missing what God has intended for you as far as touching folks and impacting other folks that are around you. And while you're focused on those other things, everything else begins to work. You don't understand it, but it kind of does. And so I don't know if there's anything else in that statement that I just made about focusing on those that are around you, like you talked about in your situation, Dr. Sherrill, that you want to accentuate a little bit more before we start winding down, because we are getting closer to the end.
Okay. And so it's a biblical principle, giving out of your need. I have always done this. I've trained my children to give out of your needs. I've trained my ministry. I've trained everybody. I don't care what's going on. When you see somebody else in need, what you make happen for someone else, God will make happen for you. That's the key. So when you see someone that needs food, go in. You don't necessarily have to go to the grocery store. Go in your freezer, which is what I did. And this is a true story. My daughter and my children are a witness. We went and I said, okay, what do we have 2 of? Anything that we have 2 of, give it away. I pulled out chicken, another meat, canned goods, breads, all of that, right? We packed this up. Then I called my friends. I taught them. I said, look, about a blessing. Listen, this person needs this. Do you want to get in on this blessing? They said, yeah, I want to get in on the blessing. I will go in my refrigerator, and we loaded up the car and took it to this family. You want to get in on this blessing? Let me tell you for real what happened. We take it to the family, and I'm a person that I don't want nobody said, oh, thank you. No, it's not me. It's really not me. And I will drop it. Oh, I got somewhere to go. Here, take this. And I'll leave. Why? I don't want any glory coming to me. I'll leave. I tell you no lie. I went in the refrigerator and the freezer. Everything that we gave away, I swear to you, looked like we didn't even take it. God multiplied our food. We kept staring. Didn't we just give that away? So when you give out of your need, this is the time to give out of your need that God can multiply. Why? The word says his ways are not our ways.
Right.
It's just not.
Right.
So when you do what he tells you, he's got a plan to do something for you.
Right. That's good.
Period.
That's good. That is very good. Now, I hope everybody got that one, because that is really, really good. Share all of this information with other folks, your friends, your neighbors, your co-workers, and let them hear this. Now, Dr. Hill, as we get ready to wind down, I want you to take a few minutes to tell people what you're doing, what are your projects, and how do they get in touch with you and find out more about what you're doing.
Okay. The website, www.g, as in girl, level, market, MKT, place, place.com, glevelmarketplace.com. So what are we doing? A lot. We are, we just got land in Benin Republic, West Africa. This pastor had land that he has had for 15 years and didn't know what to do with it. So I taught him about BOT, means build, operate, transfer. we want to build a hotel. So we have 3 parcels of land. We are looking for benefactors, people. Give out of your need. Right. Benefactors. I need for that project $2 million. Wow. To build the Hotel One conference center, and then we're going to do an agricultural project, training project that people can come from different countries on the 3rd piece of land. Right. In Canada, we are looking for a property for our G-level office where we can do trainings, meetups, and things like that. We have a team of people there. Right. In Rwanda, we are assisting a school. So anyone that wants to contribute finances, books, things for school, the building is done. One of our G-level leaders, her aunt, has built it. We're looking for people that want to give maybe monthly, maybe about $50 a month to pay for teachers' salaries. Right. We're looking for that. And so many other things. It's on the website. You can go.
That's good. So one more time, give out the website again.
www.glevelmarket, MKT Place.com.
Good. Excellent.
Glevelmarketplace.com.
Excellent. So Dr. Cheryl, or you like to be called Dr. C, everybody remember that? So look, I want to just say thank you for joining us here on Make It Plain. And so we want to make sure that, all of you who are listening, make sure you send your love to her. Go to the website. Find out what's going on, give her a shout out, support what they're doing as they're trying to make a difference in the world today. And for everyone else that's just listening, I want you to just continue to digest what we're sharing with you, because there are various topics, but it's always things that you can use and changes that will impact you for the better. So until next time, God bless you. We can't wait to talk to you again.